What do we got audience-wise? This is a curly audience. Comment down below. What do you got? You got a mohawk, you got curls, bald, you bald, some bald kings out there? Let me know in the comments what your head looks like. See what you're rocking with. Actually, you know what? That relates to our list a little bit. Back in medieval times, you couldn't even have a beard. Yeah, let's talk about it. Here are the top 10 weirdest laws from the Dark Ages that actually existed. Okay, starting off at number 10, no pointy shoes. In 1337, King Edward III of England issued a law regulating the length of shoes, specifically the pointed shoes that were fashionable at the time. Of course, milady, look at these big bad pointy shoes. Pikes or krakows. Let's bring these guys back. What are we doing? Folks would make their shoes impossibly and comedically long. The idea here was the longer the shoe, the more noble the wearer was. So, okay, nice long shoe there. You know what they say about big shoes, I guess. It got out of hand, so much so that this law restricted the length of these shoes to no more than 2 inches, as it was believed that excessively long pointed shoes were a threat to public safety and could cause accidents. Imagine that. How'd he die? Oh, he tripped over a krakow and then fell into another krakow. Shame, truly a shame. Violators of the law were fined and had their shoes confiscated. Yeah, take them off right now. Getting robbed, like on World Star. Give me your shoes. The law was seen as an attempt to regulate fashion and of course control extravagance among nobility during medieval times. Can't look too good next to our king there. However, the law was not strictly enforced and the fashion of wearing pointed shoes continued for several more decades. We got them. We did it. We need a law for Uggs. Let's get rid of those. No more Uggs. Number 9. Hunting royal deer. In medieval times, hunting was popular. It was a popular activity among nobles and royals alike. And they often hunted in forests that were reserved for their own use. Yeah, you get that forest and then we get this one. But the animals would bounce back and forth. The royal deer law was a set of regulations that protected deer and other game animals in these forests, which were considered the property of the king. This law was enacted in 1198 and redacted in 1217. So during that time, commoners were not allowed to hunt in these areas at all. If you did, well, severe punishments would be waiting for you, such as mutilation or even death. Yeah, you hunt, now you're getting hunted. Medieval times. And you have a cough. Hunting was seen as a symbol of power and privilege, and it was used as a way to demonstrate wealth and status. Imagine being a royal deer and you have no idea. What a shame. Number 8, no tennis. The 1495 tennis law. This is amazing. It was a French law that prohibited playing of tennis in public spaces. Yeah. How dare you? Don't even think about tennis, Buster. The law was enacted by King Charles VIII to address concerns about the game being too violent, which I can agree with. It was supposedly being used to train for combat and the potential for public disorder. The law also imposed penalties for those caught violating it. Secret back route tennis, like let's go play tennis after hours. Shh. If you got caught, it would include confiscation of property and imprisonment. Hey, what are you in for? Oh, I was playing doubles with my father-in-law, so I guess I'm in jail now. Despite its intended purpose, the law did not prevent the game from being played, obviously, and it slowly evolved into modern-day tennis, which we now love. I love tennis. It's pretty intense, though. I don't disagree with this one at all, actually. Number 7, medieval football. The one with the feet, not the one up here. Medieval football, also known as mob football, if that's any indication. It was a popular game played in medieval Europe that involved 2 teams trying to move a single ball to a goalpost located in their opponent's territory. And when I say territory, I mean that in a literal sense. This is a very large playing field. There were also no rules for this game at all, and then it often turned into a zoo. It was chaos. It was a violent affair, to say the least. To curb the violence and maintain order, several medieval kings and local officials issued laws that regulated the game, because they had to. Yeah, real-life kings had to get involved and be like, hey, how many players? What are we doing here? All right. They had to make like plays, I guess. These laws often restricted the game to certain days of the year and imposed penalties for violent behavior, such as fines and imprisonment. Yeah, not a penalty box, but a real prison. How's that for a red card? My God. However, the game continued to be played in various forms despite these regulations. Yeah, that backdoor secret tennis, secret football clubs, that's amazing. Number 6, no stealing dead whales. Nice, here we go. I'm not sure how one would do this without the aid of 300 of their closest friends, but the more you know. The no stealing dead whales law originated in the 17th century in England, where beached whales were considered a valuable commodity due to their oil, their meat, their bones. It's a whale. You can use a whale back then, for sure. The law made it illegal to take a beached or stranded whale without permission from authorities, and violation of the law could result in fines or imprisonment. Again, in jail for stealing a whale. We love it. Also, if you're gonna steal a dead whale, that's just impressive. What are you, the Hulk? I can't get a kayak into water without pulling something in my back. You're telling me hungry medieval mobs were dragging whales back to their homes? Okay, history's nuts. All beached whales in the UK have belonged to the king or queen since 1324. One guy in 2004, I think it was, he offered a dead whale to Her Majesty and politely declined, but he was doing it right. He was reading the books. Hey Chris, want a whale?
Sure.
Number 5, not reporting a dead body. Okay, whales and now bodies? What in the Stand By Me is happening here? You can find dead whales' bodies. It's the Dark Ages. I don't know, let's party. In medieval times, roughly around 1240, the law surrounding the discovery of a dead body, it varied depending on the region and the time period, of course. But generally, if someone discovered a dead body, they were required to report it to the courts, or the lords, of course, milady. Failure to do so could result in punishment as it was considered suspicious behavior. Fair, that's more than fair. But more often than not, the finder would be asked to provide information about the circumstances surrounding the death, including any possible suspects. Yeah, hey, take a guess, detective. No pressure, man. Swing. Just pick one person you don't like. In some cases, the finder may have been entitled to a reward for discovering the body, but in other cases, you yourself could be charged with that death. So 50-50, I don't know, pick your bodies carefully. Number 4, the beard tax. This next one here, oh, I'd be fine. Haven't shaved in 19 years, we're great. Can't grow a beard for the life of me. There were periods and regions where facial hair was regulated and or frowned upon. We'll talk about a few of those. Imagine that also, what a time. During the reign of Henry VIII in England, a beard tax was imposed on men with beards over 2 weeks old. They were all required to pay a little bit of a fee. It's hilarious. Who's going around measuring too? It's gross. In the 12th and 13th centuries, some Christian authorities viewed beards as signs of paganism or immortality and encouraged their followers to shave. Vikings, however, they're a little bit different. Dark Age Vikings, they were all about the beard, right? That's what we know them by. Beards were highly valued and considered a sign of masculinity and strength. So if I was there, I'd be screwed for sure. If at that time, no way. Overall, the regulation of facial hair varied widely depending on the time period or the cultural context. The more hair you had though, realistically, the more chances you had getting lice. So the dirtier the time period, the more frowned upon it was. Really. I'm still doing no shave November. Know what I mean? Number 3, trial by combat. Shout out to Westeros. Here we go. Trial by combat was a medieval legal practice used to settle disputes between two parties, like any dispute. How weird is that? Each party would choose a champion to fight on their behalf in a single combat. Now, the outcome of the fight was believed to be a verdict from God, because, why, of course, and the winner was declared innocent or guilty depending on the nature of the case. Yeah, we had God as a ref back in medieval times. It's amazing. This practice was common in Europe from the 5th century to the 16th century, so quite a while, but its popularity obviously declined with the development of more, I don't know, reliable legal systems, like anything else other than that. Although, imagine if we use that now. The Gwyneth Paltrow case, she just calls in the mountain. We're like, okay, Gwyneth, go off, queen. Number 2, trial by ordeal. Trial by ordeal of water. This was a medieval method of determining guilt or innocence. And it was a bunch of bullshit, obviously. The accused would be thrown into a body of water, often a river or a pond, and if they floated, well, it was believed that our god, Ref, the old Ref god, he was protecting them and that they were innocent at that point. Now, if they sank, they were deemed guilty, and also they sank, so there's that. This practice was based on the belief that water, being a pure element created by God, would reject impurities such as sin. Yeah, you get in, boom, right back out. Look at that, not even wet. It was also thought that drowning was an acceptable punishment for those who were deemed guilty, which is just a really weird way of thinking about water. The trial by ordeal of water was widely used throughout Europe during the Middle Ages and continued until the early modern period. However, it was eventually abolished due to its high mortality rate, of course, and its lack of reliability in determining guilt or innocence was obviously, part of the equation. It was a bunch of bullshit. Obviously, water rejects impurities. That would be jarring. Try and run a bath, you just can't. You're like, what's going on with me? I'm thinking of some dirty thoughts here. And finally, number 1, yellow attire. In 1420, the Venetian government issued a law requiring ladies of the night, sure, to wear yellow attire as a way to easily identify them and, of course, regulate their profession. So don't accidentally wear yellow, I guess, back then. The law was intended to control the spread of sexually transmitted diseases and prevent the moral decay of Venice. And they're also like, hey, yellow, that's how they are. That's how we know them by. That's definitely it. These ladies were required to wear a yellow veil and a yellow tunic, and they were also prohibited from wearing any expensive clothing or jewelry. So you couldn't even lavish out. You had to look like you worked for people, of course. The color yellow was chosen because it was associated with betrayal, envy, and illness. The law remained in effect until the end of the 16th century. My dad has a really bright yellow shirt. We call it his banana shirt. I can't wait to tell him about this one. That's good. I have a new nickname for my dad. That's fun. Those are the top 10 weirdest laws from the Dark Ages that actually existed. I'm actually Taylor McWaters, and I can't believe you just actually subscribed to this channel. Actually, you watched. Actor, you watched. Subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up, all that good stuff. You know what's up. See you next time. Peace. Curls, curls on curls. See what you're rocking with. Up, 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 up. Long. Ran out of air there. Up, 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 up. You got curls. Bald. You video I can. Like, they're so salty. There's rings around them too. You're like, damn.